All right, let's get into it. We're always hearing about how artificial intelligence is changing, everything. But today, we're looking at something a little different, how it's becoming one of the most powerful tools we have to protect the natural world. This is all about how AI is helping us listen, understand, and hopefully save bird species from the brink. Just look at this little guy. It's a yellow warbler, a gorgeous splash of color you might have been lucky enough to spot. But the thing is, these birds and a lot of others like them are getting harder and harder to find. Their decline is like a quiet alarm bell. It's signaling a much, much bigger problem that's happening all around us.
And that alarm bell? It's getting a lot louder. This isn't just about a few species disappearing here and there. The scientific community is pretty much in agreement on this, and it's sobering. We are living through a biodiversity crisis on a scale the planet has rarely seen. And that really sets the stage for why we need brand new, powerful ways of thinking. It's not just a nice idea anymore, it's an absolute necessity.
To put a number on it, researchers think that over 1 million species are facing extinction right now. 1 million. I mean, that number is so big it almost feels abstract, doesn't it? It's almost impossible to really wrap your head around. And it forces us to ask a really tough question. Exactly. Where do you even start when the problem is that massive? How in the world do you decide which places to protect, which animals to focus on? How do you spend your limited money to get the biggest bang for your buck? It's just staggering. But the answer, it turns out, starts with people.
Yeah, it all kicks off with something called citizen science. For a long, long time, the most powerful conservation tool we had wasn't a supercomputer. Nope. It was a good pair of binoculars and a notebook. An incredible movement of just regular people who are passionate about nature, who started collecting data one bird sighting at a time.
And we're not talking about a small hobby club here. Programs like eBird, which is run by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, have brought together this massive community. We're talking about almost 1 million birders, citizen scientists, who just voluntarily report what they see. And what this community created is, well, it's a data goldmine. Over 9 million checklists of bird sightings have been sent in. That is a truly unprecedented amount of information about where these species are and when they're there. But that also creates a brand new problem. You now have a mountain of data so huge that no team of humans could ever hope to analyze it all. And that's where our story takes a big technological turn. So the researchers at Cornell realized they had this incredible resource, but also this huge bottleneck. They needed a totally new kind of tool to make sense of this flood of data. So they turned to artificial intelligence, building a system that could see patterns in all that information, patterns that were basically invisible to us before.
Think of it like this. All those bird sightings from all those people go into the AI. The AI then crunches all that information, and it doesn't just look at the sightings. It factors in dozens of other things, like 72 different environmental variables, stuff like weather, terrain, you name it. And what comes out the other side is this unbelievably complete picture. It's modeling 500 different species all at once across their entire yearly migration. I mean, this is a level of analysis that was just science fiction a few years ago. So what's the big takeaway? The AI gives conservationists an actual, actionable map. It pinpoints the most critical habitats for hundreds of species all year round, where they breed, where they spend the winter, and all the important pit stops in between. It turns millions of random-looking data points into a clear plan of action. But what if AI could do even more than just analyze what already happened? What if it could help us strategize for the future? And that brings us to this amazing new project called Captain. And here, the AI isn't just an analyst anymore, it's a strategist. It uses this really powerful technique to learn how to make the best possible conservation decisions, not just once, but over time. The technology that powers this is called reinforcement learning. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is that the AI is learning by playing a game. And in this case, the game is conservation. It makes a move, say protecting a piece of land, and if that move helps save species, it gets points, a reward. And it does this millions and millions of times until it teaches itself the absolute winning strategy. So here's how that learning loop works. The AI looks at the current situation on the ground. It suggests an action, then it sees what happens. Did it save species? Great. That was a good move, so it updates its own internal strategy to make more moves like that in the future. It's this constant cycle of trial, error, and improvement, all happening at lightning speed inside a computer. And the things it figures out, well, they can be totally counterintuitive. For instance,
Let me ask you a common sense question. If your goal is to save the most species possible with a limited budget, should you just focus on protecting the largest possible area of land? I mean, it seems logical, right? More land protected equals more species saved. But the AI discovered something very, very different. Okay, check this out because it's wild. When the AI was told to just maximize the area it protected, it did the logical thing. It just bought up all the cheapest land. And that strategy was a complete disaster. It actually led to almost 14% more species going extinct than just picking areas at random. But the AI's preferred strategy, the one focused on minimizing species loss, was brilliant. It learned to protect areas that had complementary species, different sets of unique animals, to save the most diversity. And that approach protected 26% more species than random. It just goes to show you, it's not about how much land you protect, it's about which land you protect.
This kind of strategic insight is exactly why AI is such a game changer. And the Captain project is just one example. To get these kinds of results, conservationists are now using a whole collection of different AI tools, and each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. This just gives you a little peek into that toolkit. You got some models that are really good for smaller, simpler datasets. Then you have the heavy hitters, the deep learning models. These are the ones that can do incredible things, like listen to a recording of a forest and automatically identify a bird just from its song. The key thing to remember is that there isn't one AI for conservation. It's a whole suite of specialized tools, and scientists can pick the right one for the job. And this brings us to a really fundamental point. AI is not replacing the experts here. As one of the lead researchers at Cornell, Daniel Fink, puts it, these challenges are just too big for any one group to solve on their own. This new era of conservation is all about collaboration. It's ecologists and computer scientists working side by side to come up with the most effective plans possible. Ultimately, all of these powerful tools bring us to one last, pretty profound question. We're building technologies that can see the world more clearly and come up with strategies that are more intelligent than anything we've had before. But the technology, it only gives us options. The choices about what we value, what we decide to protect, and what kind of planet we want to leave behind, well, those are still up to us. As our tools get smarter, the real challenge is for us to get wiser.